This is one of our considerations on Team Jim for our anthem down the stretch. We want to know who best represents your point of view. It's a classic Team John versus Team Jim debate. Whose side are you on? It's a glass half full, glass half empty conversation. John, you lay out where you're at. I'll give my 2 cents, and we want to know who you guys feel has the pulse of the people. Who represents your outlook the rest of the way? John, will the Lions make the playoffs?
Yes, and no one is sitting here saying it's an easy path. No one's sitting here saying, oh, they haven't won back-to-back games. Why would they do it now? I understand all the difficulties, but I also look at this offense. And now hearing it more from Dan Campbell, I'm even more confident that they're going to be able to make some adjustments defensively. You're going to have to find a way to support those corners. They can't hold up in man coverage as much as they have been asked to do. So, hey, Calvin Shepard, you're going to have to put more on those linebackers. We think Jack Campbell is one of the best linebackers in the NFL. You need to ask him to do more, and he has to be successful at it. I think that they will make those adjustments. This offense against the Rams, it may not be how ideally we want to see it in regards to, well, you got to be able to run the ball and you got to have a 100-yard rusher. Jahmyr Gibbs needs so many touches. Montgomery needs so many touches. I don't care how they put the points on the board. Just get it done. They're not as proficient at running the ball. But what have they found? Jared Goff is having a really good season. He is protecting the football. He's not putting it at risk. He's not turning it over. They put 34 points up on one of the best defenses in the league in their house.
And lost.
You're correct. It's also one of the best offenses in the NFL. Is the Pittsburgh Steelers the Rams offense? No. Is Minnesota and J.J. McCarthy, is he the Rams offense? No. It's the same thing with the Bears. And I understand if you're going to sit there and say, well, the Bears, hey, they're playing much better. You're right.
Yes.
Is Minnesota playing consistent football? No.
No, but better football, and they already beat the Lions once.
They did. And the Bears lost to the Lions once.
Yeah, my point, though, is I just have a hard time believing they're winning out at this point, given the inconsistency from Detroit. So you have a football team that, yeah, they gave up a bunch of points to the Rams. They also gave up 500 yards to Jameis Winston and the New York Giants. This defense just isn't good enough.
Who at one point in his career was a 5,000-yard passer.
Fine, but the point is this defense isn't getting either safety. They're not getting Terrion Arnold. They're not getting enough stops. They're not getting enough pressure. They are who they are.
That's why you adjust.
When teams show you who they are, believe them. This isn't week 1 or month 1. We're into month 3. Mm-hmm. This team has shown you who they are. While they may have the number 1 scoring offense, they can't string together wins because their defense is busted. And in the big spots and the big games, even their great offense struggles to move people and run the football. So
don't have to run the football every single time.
But it's a bedrock foundation of who this football team has been.
It was.
Okay, you want to pivot, you want to adjust. They've done plenty of that, and it's yielded inconsistent results. So I don't feel like this is a consistent football team. They no longer deserve the benefit of the doubt because they aren't doing the things they used to do when they would routinely beat people and go on runs. So as I sit today, I don't expect them to make the playoffs. You know what they've done? John, they've reduced us to a point where I'm watching last weekend rooting for Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. A truly pathetic place to be when you are begging and groveling for help from the Cleveland Browns. That alone will do things to a person. I think You have to look at this and say, they're not making the playoffs.
Well, you also look at it and say, okay, well, are the Steelers and the Vikings more like the Buccaneers and the Ravens when you're on the road against them early in the season? Are they more like the Cowboys when you played them that was playing as a really good, high-powered offense? I think they are. And I'll leave the Bears game alone for right now because what I believe is that all you got to do is get to that game with a chance to get in the playoffs. And then it is Dan Campbell versus Ben Jansen. It's Jared Goff against Caleb Williams. It's the matchups that are going to come into play. And my 51, my glass is half full. It lands with the Detroit Lions.
First of all, you have to get to week 18.
Correct.
And that is one hurdle. So again, adds layers of doubt. If they get to that game, Chicago is playing much better than week 2. They're playing like one of the best teams in the NFC. What has Detroit done when they face the best in the NFC? The answer is lose, and lose every single time. So even if they clear a hurdle or two and get the help, and you still have to buy and believe into them on the road in a tough environment with a team, by the way, that's playing clean football. Caleb doesn't turn it over, and they are feasting on takeaways.
Jared Goff doesn't turn it over.
But that is a problem.
Jared Goff doesn't turn it over.
248-539-9797. As you stare down the final 3 games as a Lions fan, what best describes your feelings? Glass half full or glass half empty? Let's get to the people. Let's get to Jay in Walled Lake. Jay, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good. So, Costa, I'm siding with you. And reason being is because I think, John, you're looking at it from a former athlete's perspective. Like, hey, you line up from anyone, you can go out there and beat them. And that's the mentality of an athlete. But as I look at this team, they just don't have that same spark that they did last year. They don't have that same fire as last year. And it looked like the defense has given up. The defense aren't able to stop any good offenses. And that's been like a kind of a problem throughout the whole season, whether they played Minnesota or the Eagles or Rams or whoever it may have been. The defense hasn't been able to stop anyone. I can't ask this team to go out and, do something that they haven't done since September, and that's go out there and win meaningful games. If they haven't done it since then, I don't expect them to do it now.
You don't think the Cowboys was a meaningful game?
I do think it was a meaningful game, but
so then they won that one.
I mean, CD Lamb, he went out there and had a historical first half before he got injured, right? And that was kind of a big thing after CD Lamb went down. That team kind of fell apart. And, I mean, it's the Dallas Cowboys. I don't want to take anything away from them, but, I mean, they're kind of in a rebuilding phase if you look at it. And I just see the Lions, whenever they are playing any top teams, they do not do well at all. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's been held to like 30 yards in like 5 games this season. That's one of the Lions' best players on offense. And I just don't see him getting it done. I'm sorry, but I don't see it.
Well, when he was getting held to, 38 yards rushing the ball, you also had Amon-Ra St. Brown receiving the ball for 164 yards. You had Jamison Williams for 134 yards. There's different ways that you could attack a team.
Well, yeah.
And it just wasn't enough. And when you look at it, I look at it this way. The Lions remind me of the Packers of last year. Very talented, but they got a lot of roadblocks in their way, and they just need to, 1, get healthy, and 2, they have to be coached right. I know we can't let Dan Campbell off the hook, and I know you aren't, but Dan Campbell, after every loss, he says, it's my fault, it's my fault. I want to know how many more times are we going to have to hear it's your fault before you actually get it right? And I don't want to place all the blame on Dan Campbell, but I mean, there has to be something that you can do to get your team on par where they need to be.
Appreciate it, Jay. I'm sure you'll call Jay a bad fan.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I appreciate you always trying to put words in my mouth, but no.
You just did that earlier, calling my supporters, my loyal backers.
I didn't just call him a bad fan.
No, and I think it's important that you can be a good fan and not believe this team gets it done. You're paying attention. You're watching what's happening. You're not happy with the conclusion. You'll root like hell for them.
Even those that are happy with or that are glasses half full may not be happy with where they're at right now.
248-539-9797. Let's get some of the phone calls from you guys out there when we come back because we want to get the votes tallied up. John is leading by, I got 3 on the calls. Tied on the text, although we haven't checked them in a minute.
You got 3 on the calls. I don't know. Your math is not adding up.
I've been doing a tally every time.
I think you've been distracted.
Look, we can't manipulate the results if you call in and just give us your perspective. We'll get those calls next. 97.1.